Okay, so I think I need to have a discussion about what I've just been posting. I've been posting about Justin Timberlake. Now, he's a character who hurt me hugely at the beginning because I was under some sort of spell towards Martin, thinking that I really, really loved him, like so badly loved him that I couldn't get out of bed, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't see the point of living. And, you know, throughout most of the whole 7 years, I was convinced that I would die if he didn't return. Like, that's how bad it really was. Unnaturally, I unnaturally loved him. And so to watch, to tell him or tell people that Justin Timberlake was his representation. And later, I think I came on to Maroon 5, which was a lot nicer. And so I kind of made out like he's the good side and Justin's the bad side because there's good and bad and everything. But yeah, I think yeah, I stopped listening to Justin's songs because they hurt me too much that I was just like, okay, I'm just switch off, not watch it. And so they didn't actually hurt me because I kind of tried not to watch them. But whenever I did watch them, I'd feel quite insulted by them and just be like, I don't understand this, and what are you doing? And is this supposed to be your way of showing that you like me or something? Because that's not working, you know. And so I was always just very confused. So I just tried to avoid him and everything, even though I was still believing that he was the sort of Martin character. I was just confused and just like saying, you know, my head's saying it's suggesting is that he's a Martin character, but I don't understand it, so I'm going to not like try not to be too bothered by it, even though it was. But yeah, out of all the characters that I have, I believe, represent all the singers that represent. I think Katy Perry probably is the one that has hurt me the most. Now, I'm not talking about her as an artist or as a person. I'm referring to her as a character of The Deceiver. And I would say the reason why Katy Perry has actually hurt me so much more than Justin Timberlake is because when I kind of realized that Justin Timberlake, there was something wrong with his songs, that, you know, these songs aren't about love or helping me. It's more of a, I don't know, like there's something really dark in them. But yeah, when I realized that, I kind of just stopped watching his stuff. And a similar thing with Gaga as well. Like I thought Gaga was hugely insulting as well, but I just stopped watching it. And then when I realized that she was actually like the devil character, I was like, oh well, that makes sense. She's kind of like the evil side, and therefore all the things that she does make sense, and therefore I completely forgive her because um, we all have good and bad in us. And I think if I was to bring out my bad side, that Gaga character is exactly how I'd be. So I can't hate myself. But yeah, Katy Perry was always like, no, I can't forget this. I can't, no, please, no, 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 I can't forget. Like, I know I hate the Middle East and she kind of represents the Dajjal and everyone hates the deceiver. But the thing about the devil character is that the devil character is the negative sides of God. But in every negative side of God, there's also a positive side. And in every negative thing that you do, you know, there's good and bad in everything. And so therefore the devil character isn't even like, it's bad, but it's not like that bad. And I'm hoping in the future the devil character will be far less bad, and you know, there'll be a new version of the devil which will just be a lot nicer. Still the negative sides of God, but at the same time, just hopefully there won't be as many negative sides of God. But yeah, the deceiver is a really bad side because for the last 9 years, well, I guess I kind of stopped 7 years ago because I was convinced that there was a 7 year tribulation. The Bible was talking about 7 years, and I was convinced that Martin would come back within the 7 years. And I was hoping that it wouldn't be 7 years. When I first started, you know, when I first met him, I thought it'd be a few months and he would put me on Big Brother and that's it. And then months turned into lots of months, lots of months turned into years. And it's not even like it's years. I mean, every single day I felt like I was constantly looking for the date on when he would come back or the date that it would be ended. And every single day, every single minute, you know, I'd ask a question like, when's it going to end? And then a bus would drive past with like the word Superwoman, and then, you know, June the 4th or whatever. And it would just like bring up dates, and I'd be like, oh wow, it's only like 3 weeks ago. Okay. And I was constantly like analyzing things the whole time and constantly believing that it was just around the corner. And that was far worse than any song that Justin made. So that's, you know, because the deceiver is out there to trick people, to get them to believe in something or believe that one thing when really it actually means something different. And I felt like I was reading all these signs, believing that it was a sign that was only going to be a 1 year tribulation, a few months or whatever. You know, I didn't have to work. I could just lie in bed and just go through whatever I was going through. And it's also like a race. you know, if you're running a race and you know that the end of the race is just around the corner, and you just feel like if I just run that little bit more, um, you know, you've got a little bit left and you want to just sprint it because you want to get to the end. And so you want to put your absolute energy into it just every time. And if you believe that you've only got a short way to go, you put that energy in. And then imagine the end of the race doesn't end and you think it's there, and then suddenly it's there, and then suddenly it's, you know, suddenly it's here, suddenly there, and suddenly there, and then you just start getting tired, and then you start just feeling used, and then you start feeling just tricked about everything. You know, I feel like the higher self of me is the deceiver. That is definitely a character of her, and she's deceived me into um, thinking that Martin would return. She deceived me into thinking that this tribulation wouldn't be that bad. She deceived me into thinking um, all sorts of things. Like, I mean, maybe it's me who's kind of believing things, but I'm believing things based on things around me. And a lot of the times I've believed something because I would see something and be like, oh, I think that they're giving me a sign, or something, my higher self is giving me a sign. But I feel like in reality, that my higher self wasn't giving me a sign. My higher self was giving me a false sign, tricking me into thinking something else, so that I would think that the time is going to be near and it's not going to be that long. And yeah, I feel like out of all the characters, not Katy Perry herself as a person, but Katy Perry, the character, which is the deceiver, you know, that one is the hardest one to forgive, because that one is the one that's caused me most grief. And I know that it's going to cause a lot of people grief. But you know, you've got like the Queen Demon, the Nicki Minaj kind of character, you know, that one kind of isn't going to cause huge amounts of grief, because I feel like something's going to happen. People are going to go through something, and then they'll be reincarnated and it'll be fine. But with the Katy Perry character, that's people believing one thing. Oh yeah, yeah, like, or believing Christ is all loving, all caring, all amazing, and then suddenly you realize it's me, and I don't actually love you, and I've really never loved anyone particularly. You know, that suddenly, you know, if that reality hits you, you've just realized that you've basically been following a deceiver, someone who's lied to you about something. And I think the deceiver is the character that is hurts people the most, because no one likes to believe that they've had the answer. And this William character this William guy that I met, you know, I'm looking back and thinking back, not looking back. I can't even read his text, but I'm thinking back at some of the things he posts, and it was this stupid, horrible video where he looks like a kind of mad person with hair like that, and there's this baby that's just hitting a balloon. I don't know what that video was about, but when I see him in person, I see quite an attractive person who's, you know, seemed to be smart. I don't really know him. We didn't really talk that much. We talked a lot on text, but a lot of the texts were also, I don't know, it was almost like he was deliberately trying to put me off him. You know, like 10 Things I Hate About You, where someone's deliberately trying to put you off, and they're actually, it's having an opposite effect. And you know, they're actually getting more attracted. Like in 10 Things I Hate You, the girl was trying to put the guy off, and the guy was actually getting not more interested, but because of some sort of bet, he had to like continuously pretend to, like, I don't know, there was some weird kind of conversation going on there. Just looking at that video, I don't understand why he'd even send that video, because he didn't look good. So it's making me question that maybe, I don't know if it's a possibility, I'm just maybe overthinking or whatever, but maybe they maybe whoever is following me, or what, knowing who I am and stuff, maybe they knew that something's going to happen in the summer, and they've deliberately sent him not to actually for me to like him, but more maybe as a test to just stop me from getting pregnant with someone else. Like, I almost got pregnant with Mark because it had this chemical pregnancy, and so maybe they were like, well, if we send this guy, and then because he was insistent on wanting to come to me after like 36 hours after peak, and I'm pretty sure that's way too late. And I'm pretty sure most people know that it's way too late. I'm sure you have to do it either on peak or before, not 36 hours after. That's not enough time. So I'm really like analyzing a lot of things, and I'm just thinking maybe, and then I'm still thinking of some of the pictures he sent were okay, but yeah, just that video where he's where he's got a baby who's just, I don't know, he looks like a mad person in that video, and I don't know what to think of it, but I feel like there's some more deception going on there, and some of the things that he says. You know, I don't want to be attached to you forever. I mean, I've just shown him videos and proof that I'm God. Why would you not want to be attached to me? I mean, okay, on hands, I get that, because I don't want the future children to be too attached to me. I want you to be individual and be yourself, and not be attached to me, and you know, just live your own life, and you know, be unique to yourself and not just copy me. But yeah, it's hard to know what he said of his conscious mind, what he's saying of a higher state mind, and also what, if there's someone else involved, like maybe someone doesn't want me to get pregnant with someone, so deliberately sent someone and to tell me lies about how it needs to be 36 hours after peak, just with the hope of not getting me pregnant. You know, I don't know what's going on, but I'm thinking about these things, and it's yeah, it's getting me confused. But yeah, I don't know what to say. All I know is that this William guy that I met is a big player, but I thought Martin was a big player. And in reality, maybe he generally didn't know, generally didn't believe. Maybe he just went away. Maybe he was gay or whatever, went away, and then I was just left believing that everyone, like when I put in permission, I tried to get planning permission to get a 2-story house, and for about 3 months they said you have to wait 3 months, so I submitted it, and then I waited 3 months, and then I contacted them after about 3.5 months to find out like what happened, and they said they hadn't received it, and I was like, oh, okay. So I'm wondering if that is that a sign, or is that the deceiver just giving me some sort of false belief that it relates to my life in some way, when, you know, maybe Martin Dodd that I met generally didn't believe, generally walked off, and someone somewhere else down the line found out. I really don't know. I don't like not knowing. And it's been like this for a very long time. And if you knew how much deception I've gone through, you would understand why I would find Katy Perry's character the hardest one to forgive.